on the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip go.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life. Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. You feel me? Oh, you know it's about to go down today. So what's the stuff to talk about? So guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off now. Yeah. How's everybody doing today? Yes. Oh, man, please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns. This here is Sports Plus Life, that there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary topics in sports and all of the necessary topics in life. And it's spring break. It's spring break. It's spring break for my kids. Not for me. Even though I only work 2 days this week, I'm working tomorrow and I'm working Thursday, and then I'll have the rest of the week off so I can enjoy my kids' spring break with them, which is why I didn't do a show yesterday, because today is Tuesday. Okay, today is Tuesday, April the 5th, 2022. And I usually do the show on Mondays, but you know, I took the kids out. We went to this park right off of Mountain Road, Glen Allen softball complex, actually. Used to go there a lot as a kid when my sister would play a little league softball, and they would have tournaments out there, and we would just load up coolers, and we would be out there all day when I was a kid. I mean, really, really fun times. But they also have a basketball court, football field, track, blase, nice little playground. Took my kids there. They had a good time. We were there for about 2 hours. Then we went to Short Pump Park. So we was park hopping yesterday. So yeah, wore them out. They had a good time. Came home, cooked, watched the national championship game, and just chilled. But yes, really good. And I said it's still early today. It's just a little past noon. Of course, it ain't gonna be past noon by the time y'all listen to this. But we may do the same thing today once I'm done with the podcast. Really depends on the weather, because I saw it's supposed to rain. I ain't trying to go out there in the rain. But it was fun. But before we continue, of course, you know I got to give all my shout-outs. Got to give my shout-outs to all my people out there, my Black and Gold family, my Black and Gold family, my family, we all family. Okay? I love each and every one of you guys. Happy belated birthday to my homeboy BG. My homeboy BG, his birthday was last week on March 31st. Happy belated birthday to Chantel Taylor. You know, that's my heart right there. Love her dearly. And also happy birthday to Pam and Crystal. Man, these are my peoples here, man. These are my people. Happy birthday. Hope you guys are out there being blessed, and I hope y'all are out there winning. Black and gold, black and gold, black and gold, black and gold, black and gold. Oh, man, but a lot of stuff has happened in this world of sports. I know last week's show, we were pretty much focused on what happened with the Oscars and the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation, but I got a lot of sports to talk about today, people. So without further ado, let's get to it. Oh, I'm going to start off by talking about the conclusion of the college basketball season, the March Madness tournament. This was one of the reasons why the main reason why I did want to do a show yesterday, because I wanted to talk about the absolutely epic game Saturday night between North Carolina and Duke in the Final Four. Of course, you know, pretty much the whole tournament was all about, this is Coach K's last tournament. And again, I'm not throwing shade on Coach K, but I've never been a Duke fan. I've never once rooted for Coach K. I didn't root for him this tournament. I would have some of my friends telling me, some of my coworkers telling me, how could you not root for Coach K? I said, well, it's easy to not root for somebody you never rooted for. Biatch. And I don't like Duke. Never was invested in Duke. So Coach K's last ride or whatever, you know, his final season, farewell season, whatever, I didn't care personally. I was more annoyed that they got to the damn Final Four because I was gonna have to hear more of it. Coach K, Coach K, Coach K, Coach K. But the fact that they played North Carolina and the first time that they ever met in the NCAA tournament, and it happened to be in the Final Four, that game lived up to all of the hype. Caleb Love was absolutely phenomenal. RJ Davis, Baycott. Hey, listen, I've been wetting Baycott the entire tournament because he's just a funny looking guy. He just looks weird. And I'm a fool, so I say stuff like that. Then when I'm actually paying attention, when I'm watching the starting lineup, at center, 6'10" from Virginia, I'm like, from Richmond, Virginia, I'm like, God damn. I've been wetting this dude the whole time, and he's right from me. I mean, it is what it is, but dude is a warrior, though. What's crazy is that Armando Baycott is a senior, 22 years old, and he's a very solid defender, rebounder. I mean, every game this tournament, he had a double-double. Sprained his ankle badly at the end of the Duke game. But it's crazy because when I grew up, like in the early 90s, even mid-90s, a guy like that, four-year player, would be a lottery pick, possibly top 5. I'm wondering where he's going to get drafted because, the NBA now kind of looks down on people who stay longer in college, which I always thought was retarded because you're a more developed player and your body is more developed as well. But be that as it may, great game, and Carolina beat Duke. And what I enjoyed most about that game actually was that you could have absolutely no excuses. Both teams played well. Carolina players played well. Duke players played well. Banchero played well. Williams played well for Duke. Roach played well. So you can't sit here and say, well, Duke lost because of X, Y, and Z, because everybody played well. They just got beat. So the end of the Coach K career, good. All right. Fabulous career, Coach K. As long as I've been alive. Hell, you were Duke's basketball coach before I was alive. So great career. It is what it is. And they meet Kansas. North Carolina plays Kansas last night in the national championship game. Now here's a game where North Carolina has to be sick to their damn stomach. Kansas wins the national championship game last night, 72-69. North Carolina had a 15-point lead going into halftime. North Carolina was up 40-25 at halftime. Now, the fun thing because I'm so emotionally invested in sports when I have a rooting interest, honestly, sometimes it's honestly not good for my blood pressure. I'm not even trying to be funny, because when I'm emotionally invested, you're getting everything of me. I'm so serious. The fun part about last night for me was I had no rooting interest in it. I had no dog in the fight. It's not because I liked one team a whole bunch or I disliked another team. I just sat back and just watched a great game. No emotional stress, nothing like that. It was wonderful. Now I'm watching the first half. Kansas jumps out on them quick. Just the same way Kansas jumped out on Villanova on Saturday. Beat the shit out of Villanova. Villanova tried to make it interesting near the end, but Kansas was just too much for them. Plus, Villanova losing one of their guards to a torn ACL in the Elite Eight didn't help either. But I had no rooting interest, and so when Kansas jumps out on North Carolina, I'm like, is North Carolina actually a little spent from that battle against Duke? I mean, mind you, yeah, it was just 2 days ago, but these are young men from the ages of 18 to 23. So I'm like, how tired really are you? But then Carolina comes back on them, and they just control the rest of the first half. Like I said, they were up 15 points. And I'm like, okay, damn. I've seen this before with Kansas, because Kansas actually in the Elite Eight was struggling with Miami in the first half, and then outscored Miami like 45-15 or something like that in the second half. It was something ridiculous. But and then during the interview, during one of the early timeout interviews, they did an interview with Hubert Davis, and Hubert Davis come out there and sound like Ray Lewis. We're competing anyway. We're competing. There's a tension. I'm proud of my God. I'm like, nigga, I'm ready to play now. I'm ready to just throw on some shorts and jump around my living room. But boy, that man had got me hype. And Carolina was so hyped after that. But then Kansas comes back. They roar back. They roar back at the beginning of the second half. By the 10-minute mark, I think Kansas had the lead. By the halfway point of the second half, I believe Kansas had the lead. So then you just watch, and then it just becomes a game of who wants it most. And I love that because I didn't want to see a blowout. I wanted to see a great game. Now, again, Baycott had a badly sprained ankle, but he still played, had a double-double, 15 points, 15 rebounds. Kid was a warrior. But Carolina's guard backcourt shot horrible last night. RJ Davis was 5 for 17. Caleb Love, who was missed the second half for them during the tournament, was 5 for 24 in the game. Manic had a couple of three-point shots early, but really couldn't get going in the second half. And Kansas, I mean, you had a bunch of steady play from Kansas. McCormick with 15, Wilson with 15. Akbash, who ended up being the MOP, he had 12. Remy Martin off the bench, who's a great shooter. I mean, the names on these players, man. See, like I said, I'm a fool. I'm a clown, so I trip off stuff like that. Remy Martin, I've been tripping off him the entire tournament. I'm like, everybody could use a little Remy. Everybody could use a little Remy every now and again. Then with Carolina's players, you had Baycott, like I said, he looked like just a weird-looking guy. Then you got a player on Carolina by the name of Leaky Black. Like, wait a minute, what? Who's coming up with these names? That's all I was like I've been tripping off Leaky Black the whole tournament too. Like that's what you're being announced by. I didn't call him Sneaky Leaky Black and Mild. But Virginia also represented well too, not just in this game, the Final Four. Like I said, Baycott's from Richmond, he's from right here. McCormick, who played with Kansas, he's from Norfolk. But I know Carolina fans have to be sick to their stomach because they let that one get away. They really did. And I mean, now I would have been happy for Hubert Davis, first year. But I see Carolina's future is just fine. Just like Kansas. It's Kansas's fourth national championship in their school history, their first since 2008, if y'all remember the Mario Chalmers game. Derrick Rose misses a free throw. Chalmers ties it, sends it into overtime, and Kansas ends up winning their first title since then. It was a great game, 79-62, and when Carolina missed their shot near the end, and Kansas inbounds it, and the guy stepped out of bounds with like 4 seconds left. I said, watch Carolina hit a three and send this bitch into overtime. But Caleb Love kind of just airmailed one. He was just off. He picked the wrong game to be off. But it happens. To me, the injuries more or less caught up to Carolina because Caleb Love sprained his ankle too. So you had Baycott with a sprained ankle, and his ankle finally gave out on him with about 45 seconds left to go in the game. You have your two best players get hurt, and they're fighting through it. But to me, that's really what caught up to it. And Kansas came out and did what they had to do, overcoming a 15-point deficit. The total, they were down 16. It was the largest deficit overcome in the history of the NCAA tournament. The it's an NCAA championship game, excuse me. And the Jayhawks won. They're the national champions, and definitely congratulations to them. Again, it was a great night. Carolina only ran 7 deep. They had a 7-man rotation, and so Hubert Davis was really dependent on those bodies, and they were just starting to get banged up a little bit. Kansas ran a 9-man rotation. Like I said, their second leading scorer, well, their third leading scorer was Remy Martin, and he comes off the bench. Wilson had 15, McCormick had 15, Remy Martin had 14. And like I said, RJ Davis and Caleb Love were just, they had bad shooting nights. I was saying maybe with about 5 minutes to go, Caleb Love ain't got it. I'm like, RJ, you're going to have to take over. Remember, he dropped 30 against Baylor in the second round to put out the defending national champions. So, but great tournament. Definite great tournament. Oh, yes. On the college basketball front, I meant to say this last week. Shout out to Shaheem Holloway, the coach, the young brother, the coach of St. Peter's, who had to run all the way to the Elite Eight. I told you guys after weekend number 1, I said, that dude ain't going to be at St. Peter's much longer. He's gone back to his alma mater, Seton Hall, which is a substantially bigger platform than St. Peter's, still in New Jersey. You know, when I was growing up, Seton Hall was a powerhouse. Coached by P.J. Carlissimo, Terry DeHare, those guys, they were in national championship games and Final Fours. This is when I was growing up in the 90s. Seton Hall was a powerhouse. And maybe he can get them back to that level. But I knew, once that dude got to the Sweet 16, I said, oh, he gone. I said, after this season, unless St. Peter's can match him monetarily, I said, he out of there. I said, he gone. And you saw how chill he was. So congratulations to him, man. Congratulations to Shaheen Holloway, new coach of the Seton Hall Pirates. And congratulations to the Kansas Jayhawks, the 2021-22 NCAA Men's College Basketball National Champions. But before I transition to the pros, I also have to shout out the women's national champions, the South Carolina Gamecocks. I love me some Dawn Staley. Yes, I do. I love me some Dawn Staley, and I'm so happy that her team was able to get over the hump, because remember last year they lost at they lost on a putback. Well, actually the girl Leah Boston, the star of South Carolina, missed the putback last year and they lost. I believe I even put that on YouTube. They lost the national championship game. They were crying, distraught. You know, the social media world is cruel, so they made that child a meme. And South Carolina was number one all season. Final record 35-2. 35-2. Very rare that you see a team for a season go wire to wire. Number one from at the beginning, number one at the end. They defeated the UConn Huskies, who are always in the national championship game. But this is the first time they lost the national championship game. Gino, who's, you can make an argument that he's the greatest women's basketball coach ever. I would put Pat Summitt, the late great Pat Summitt, right up there with him. I'm not going to disrespect her like that, because I even as a kid, I used to watch those UConn Tennessee games all the time. I really did, because that was to me the equivalent of the 49ers and the Cowboys playing each other. It was. But what you may be witnessing in women's college basketball is a changing of the guards, because UConn, they've gone to 14 straight Final Fours. That is a hell of an achievement. But Dawn Staley and these South Carolina Gamecocks, they won it in 2017. They probably would have won it in 2020, the tournament that got canceled for COVID, because they were just as dominant. Had the heartbreak of the national championship last year and come back and they beat the Huskies 64-49. And their best player, Aaliyah Boston, wasn't even on her A game. She had a double-double, 11 points, 16 rebounds, but UConn had a date with Destiny. And by Destiny, I mean Destiny Henderson. Homegirl point guard threw up 26 on that ass. Okay, 3 3-pointers, 4 assists. She held it down. And again, I love me some Dawn Staley. My grandfather, my father's father, Clarence Jr., put me on to Dawn Staley when I was a kid. Right around the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. I'm a kid. And not even in high school yet. And I saw Dawn Staley run point guard for Team USA. And I'm like, holy crap. This woman is a magician. Then on top of that, she went to UVA. She was a star at UVA. She's from Philadelphia. I watched her actually play a professional women's game when they had a professional women's league, and the Richmond had a team. This was in around 96, right after the Olympics. The Richmond Rage. She was the point guard. My question is, how the hell is Dawn Staley not the coach of Virginia, of the University of Virginia? She's got roots here. How in the hell do you allow her to be the coach of South Carolina when Virginia is her alma mater? That's my thing about it. Yo, Virginia Cavaliers, Lady Cavaliers, y'all dropped the ball on that one, because Dawn Staley is one of your own. How in the hell is she not in Charlottesville coaching our women's Cavaliers? How? And do you think you're getting her out of South Carolina? No, I don't think so, because she's turned South Carolina into a powerhouse. like I said, I believe we're witnessing changing of the guards. I believe South Carolina's going to win it next season. Book it. I said it first. So shout out to the Lady Gamecocks. Shout out to Don Stanley. You go, girl. You go, girl. I tell you, black don't crack. So, I mean, I low key, I always thought she was fine, and she's still fine. But let me get on to the pros. Oh man, as you guys know, the playoffs start next Sunday, Easter Sunday, and I do not believe that my Los Angeles Lakers are going to be involved, and I am now talking about the National Basketball Association, the NBA. And the only reason why I'm even talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, because they've been pathetic all season. They've fallen out of the potential play-in spot right now. They're 2 games behind the Spurs. I think they play the Suns tonight. I think if we lose tonight, that's it. And you know what? I'm not trying to be funny because I don't even like the play-in tournament scenario because to me, if you're a 10th seed or a 9th or 10th seed, you just don't deserve it. And that's not, that's not just a Laker thing. That's the Eastern Conference, Western Conference. But the reason why I'm talking about the Lakers is because yesterday, Magic Johnson went on Get Up. He went on First Take. And he was discussing the state of the Los Angeles Lakers and basically who should take responsibility for the way this season has gone south. I mean, the Lakers are 16 games under 500. I mean, it is amazing. You figure you got all these Hall of Famers on your you got 5 Hall of Famers and you are 16 games under 500. What the fuck? I mean, it has been a total clusterfuck this year for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Magic, when you ask Magic about the Lakers, he gonna keep it 100 with you.
When I think about it, the blame that he's got to take is the fact that DeRozan ended up in Chicago and not with the Lakers. He has
expand on that thought if you will. Why
because
is that on
DeRozan wanted to play for the Lakers. And when I got the call from his agent, I called the Lakers, said, hey, he wants to come home. And DeRozan could have been a Laker instead of a Bull. We could have made that deal. But when Russell and LeBron and them started talking, that's when they nixed that deal and went with Westbrook, and he became a Laker instead of DeRozan. And I think with DeRozan, and then you had a chance to keep the role players, Caruso, KCP, all those guys who are our best defenders, see, they left. And that's why we were a bad defensive team. But if you signed DeRozan, you only trade Kuzma for Buddy Hield, we would be playing in the Western Conference Championship this year with those 2 guys.
When Magic Johnson talks about the Lakers, some bitch, I'm gonna listen. Okay, now let's peel the layers back. Let's evaluate on that. I've spoken about this before, and the person he was talking about who needs to take the blame is LeBron James. And let's evaluate that. Now, first of all, we've seen the type of season that DeMar DeRozan has had. I mean, throughout the majority of the year, really up until I'd say the last about 3 weeks, he was high consideration for the MVP. He's averaging a career high 28 points a game. So we could have had him. Then you say we could have had Buddy Hield, right? So instead of Westbrook, right? But here's the thing about it. Magic has that much juice in LA. You heard what he said. When DeRozan's people contacted me, Magic doesn't technically work for the Lakers anymore. He was the president of basketball operations when he got LeBron over there. But remember, Magic resigned at the end of LeBron's first season because of a rift between him and Rob Pelinka. Actually did a pretty funny skit about that back in 2019. But Magic, when you talk about the Lakers, Magic carries more weight than anybody when it comes to the Lakers organization. Magic Johnson is the most popular athlete in Los Angeles. I don't give a damn what sport it is. It's not close. It ain't even close. Football, baseball, basketball, Magic is LA. Now, Kobe was right. Kobe was plenty popular. And we all mourn, not just Los Angeles, but the world mourned when Kobe passed away. But when it comes to Los Angeles, Magic, he's the man. Like I said, DeRozan's people are contacting Magic Johnson about him wanting to come to LA, and Magic doesn't even technically work for them. And then Magic goes and tells the Lakers organization, hey, DeMar DeRozan wants to play with us. You think Magic don't carry no fucking juice? And now people are saying, well, did Magic go too far as blaming LeBron James? You know, was that a shot out of bounds? Was that an out of bounds shot, below the belt shot? Let me tell you something. Magic is not going to do that to the Lakers if he didn't have his blessing from his sister from another mister. And I'm talking about Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Magic and Jeannie grew up in the basketball business together. They're right around the same age. They've known each other. They've been tight for 40 years, for over 40 years now. He is not going to say anything that could be, in any way negative about the Lakers players or staff, unless he's gotten her blessing, his sister from another mister. So, for one, Magic hit it dead on. He's dead on the money. LeBron James has to wear this. And Jeannie Buss is sick and tired of being crucified for this Lakers season. LeBron James has pretty much made it about himself and the scoring title. And I'm not knocking LeBron, because make no mistake about it, before LeBron got to the Lakers were a joke. The Lakers had turned into a joke of a franchise. The last couple of Kobe years were horrible. The couple of years after Kobe were horrible. Remember, if you've listened to the show since I started it in 2018, I called it the dark ages of the Lakers. So I give credit to LeBron for bringing us to relevancy and delivering a title. But if you're looking at this from Jeannie Buss's perspective, from a business standpoint, we haven't won a playoff series in LA since LeBron has been there. Remember, we won the 2020 championship. That was in the bubble. That was in Orlando. That didn't generate any money to Los Angeles. That wasn't the Staples Center. Now the Crypto.com, whatever the fuck that is. Stupid name. But Magic is still Mr. Laker. So anything that he says, you can take it to the bank. And to think that the Los Angeles Lakers could have had DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield instead of Russell Westbrook, and we only would have had to trade Kuzma for Buddy Hield and maybe a draft pick or two, maybe, because they're really on the same level as far as a player, Kuzma and Buddy Hield. I agree with Magic when he says he thinks that we'd be playing in the Western Conference Finals against Phoenix this year. I would have to agree. At least, I think we're at worst case scenario, we're in the second round of the playoffs, because we all know, Anthony Davis's check engine light is always on. LeBron James, even though he's played great individually, he's older. He's more injury prone. He doesn't play defense. I mean, I don't understand how the hell you can score 38 against the Pelicans, then you can't play 2 nights later against Denver. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, are you only playing games that you know that you can drop lots of buckets on? We all know you're going to pass Kareem. You are going to, barring any catastrophic injury, you're going to pass Kareem for all-time scoring list. And I'm glad Kareem walked back his comments about LeBron, because, I mean, sometimes this is just a little bit of piling on. But as far as this roster, I never liked it from the beginning. Tony would come on here week after week after week and say these young boys are going to run the Lakers clean out of the gym. And he was absolutely right. When this roster was put together, I said, boy, Lakers sure do look good in 2012. They got the 2012-2013 All-Stars. This is an old roster. LeBron, one of his boys. And the reports are that during the reports are that Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka are kind of fed up with this LeBron running the show type of deal that a lot of people think is going on. During the All-Star break, what I'm telling you is factual. During the All-Star break, Clutch Sports, who represents LeBron, they called Rob Pelinka. They realized the Westbrook deal wasn't working. They wanted to trade Westbrook to Houston for John Wall, because John Wall, Houston hasn't even been letting him play. He's perfectly healthy. They wanted to do the deal for John Wall, and Rob Pelinka said, no, you got to wear this, because we didn't want Westbrook. We didn't want Westbrook. You guys wanted Westbrook. We wanted Buddy Hield and DeMar DeRozan. So now, no trade happens. And so, LeBron, AD, they have to wear this. I don't know how, everybody's saying, oh, Westbrook's gone at the end of this year. We're going to trade him. For who? Who the hell is going to take on a $47 million contract of a player who's having the worst season of his career, I would say from an emotional standpoint? Who's gonna, can you still do the deal for John Wall? I don't know. Because Magic was on First Take saying you don't think you're going to be able to trade Russell Westbrook, that you're still going to bring back Bron, AD, Westbrook, that you can't move them. I've heard, everybody saying trade Anthony Davis. For what do we have to offer? Between the AD trade and the Russell Westbrook trade, the Lakers' assets have been bled dry. They should have gotten rid of Taylor Horton Tucker when there was a demand for him. He's played horrible this year. His trade value has diminished greatly. This is a massive failure this season by the Lakers.
What's wrong with y'all?
LeBron James has to own it.
You niggas are crazy.
Because we know that LeBron can manipulate a roster. Melo's his boy. Russ is his boy. And honestly, I don't have no problem with the way Melo's played at all this season, to tell you the truth. I didn't expect that much from Melo. But they have to own this. They definitely have to own this. And LeBron is, and for LeBron to say, I'm having a blast, I'm having a great time this year, maybe he's telling the truth, maybe he's not. But if he is telling the truth, can we please just cut the GOAT talk right there? Because if you're 16 games under 500, you're not hearing that from Magic, Michael, Kobe, Larry, Duncan, Elijah. You're not hearing that. Shaq, you're not hearing that.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
And the fact of the matter is, yes, we won a title in 2020 in the bubble with the benefit of a 4-month layoff because of a pandemic. LeBron's first year as a Laker, no playoffs. Last year, first round exit. This year, no playoff. I don't even want to hear shit about a playing game. We don't deserve it. And I'm a die-hard Laker fan. I bleed purple and gold. Magic Johnson is my favorite player all time. All time. He's my favorite Laker all time. And Kobe is literally a slither below him. Because Magic, I just love Magic. But what he says about the Lakers, book it, take it to the bank. He got the okay from his sister, from another mister. They're tired of the nonsense that's coming along with LeBron and Clutch. And they say, no, we're not going to do what you want to do. We're going to run the team. You're not going to run this organization. And then when you leave, we're going to be falling to shit like Cleveland was at first. That's why do you think LeBron left Miami? Because Pat Riley said, I'm the captain. He said, I'm running the show. I'm the captain now. I'm just saying, man, But the playoffs do start. The playoffs start April 17th. And interesting. Very interesting. It's very interesting for me, particularly the Eastern Conference. And I found it interesting when Kevin Durant said yesterday that his injury derailed the Nets season. Because now, didn't mention this last week, the mandate for New York has been lifted. It's about time. Kyrie Irving's now been playing in Brooklyn, but since Kyrie became a part-time player, they've been below 500. But let's make no mistake about this mandate being lifted in New York. It ain't have a damn thing to do with Kyrie Irving. Baseball is about to start in a couple of days, and it was going to affect the Yankees. I'm gonna tell you right now, that mayor must have somebody of importance in that city called him and said, look, we ain't worried about Brooklyn. We ain't worried about Kyrie Irving because half of the fans in Brooklyn don't care. The other half of the Nets fans are probably still in Jersey. But look, motherfucker, if you mess with our Yankees, you gonna have a problem. If Aaron Judge ain't out there opening day against Boston, look, goddamn it, you better lift this mandate. Don't fuck with our Yankees. You understand? And poof, done. Mandate lifted. I'm being dead serious. But with KD, I mean, I'm not going to say he doesn't have a point because the Nets were number one in the East. They were number 1 in the East. The Nets right now are 10th. They're 10th in the Eastern Conference. And if I'm going to be consistent, play in, they only have a couple of games left to see if they can even get to an 8th spot if they're going to host. Now, conventional wisdom, again, is that, well, the Nets will win a play-in game against somebody. But, again, they don't deserve it, bruh. Now, you got Kyrie who stood on his morals, which I have to salute that. I salute that, even though I didn't agree. But he stood on his principles, and I respect that. Ben Simmons, I don't believe a damn thing that come out of Ben Simmons' mouth. He's trying to get a $20 million grievance. I'm sorry. I don't believe Ben Simmons is hurt. What's going on with Ben Simmons is absolutely ridiculous. And this is who you leaning on, Brooklyn? This is who you leaning on. Kevin Durant has held up his end of the bargain when it comes to what he's delivered to Brooklyn for the Nets organization. Kyrie has not. Ben Simmons, good luck with that. But we'll see. I mean, it would be interesting if the Nets get in as an 8th seed to see them play Miami or Milwaukee. Because, I mean, we talk about who should be the MVP. Y'all paying attention to Giannis? He might be my new favorite player. I ain't lying to you. That motherfucker come and get him. Giannis do his thug daisy. He does his thing and he don't care. And he's getting better. That's the scary part. Bro is getting better. That jump shot is getting better. Those handles are getting better. He's already a beast in the paint. Ooh. But that'd be interesting to see if Brooklyn goes up against Milwaukee or against Miami. But again, I'm not a play-in fan. Not at all. And with this basketball talk and content, I got my dog on here during this spring break week. Even still, gotta get him on here. Tony, what up, homie?
Yo, what's going on?
All right, well, like I told you, we were talking about, I started talking about Magic and the Lakers situation, so your thoughts?
My thoughts is hindsight 2020. They let the GM and to the lesser degree, AD sit in the room and decide which move they made. But I'm going to contradict Magic on some level, because this notion that DeMar DeRozan didn't end up in LA simply because of LA front office, or even LeBron for that matter, he's kind of addressed that. DeMar's kind of addressed that thing. And he said he was open to playing in LA, but by no means was that a done deal. And he said he saw a similar opportunity in Chicago. People will say he took the opportunity in Chicago because it paid more money, and that may be true to some degree, but he said it was also a big market, a competitive city, and Zach LaVine is a bona fide all-star. Yeah, Vucevic is an all-star, so I saw an opportunity here too. That's DeMar's comment. He didn't really get into the money thing, but that's his comment. So take it for what it's worth. I'm sure Clutch and the Lakers front office, they've said what they said, or Magic, the mouthpiece, as a representative of them, has said what he said. But it just irritates me. Every year it's the Lakers could have had this. Lakers could have had this. The same disdain you have in terms of my Dallas Cowboys, because you feel like they're not relevant. So why are they being even talked about? Right now, the Lakers are not relevant. So why are they even being talked about?
I totally agree with you. I don't disagree with you. And before I even started talking about Magic, I said the only reason why I'm even talking about the Lakers is because of Magic's comment. Now, Magic is my favorite all-time player, period. When he talks, I listen. I don't disagree with you about the Lakers' relevancy. I was saying, before you got on, how much I dislike the play-in game, because the Lakers there's 16 games under 500. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. So no,
they're not going to be in. They got to win 3 out of 4.
They got Phoenix tonight. We're done.
Have to have the Spurs to lose as well. And I don't see them winning 3 out of their 4 of their games. They should win the Hornets game, but the other games,
we're not gonna win the Hornets game. We're gonna lose tonight to Phoenix. We have to play Denver again. No, we're not getting in there. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve it. We're a below 500 team now. Here's the thing about it, as far as the Clutch thing goes, and this is factual, that Clutch called Pelinka realizing the Westbrook thing wasn't working. They wanted to trade Westbrook for Wall, and all intents and purposes, Pelinka said, no, we didn't want Westbrook. You guys wanted him. You got to sit and wear this. Because remember, everybody was so dumbfounded. Hey, why didn't the Lakers make any moves during the trade deadline? So it's an internal power struggle. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be glad that when the Lakers season is over. Now, Magic said yesterday, how the hell do we trade Westbrook? He believes that all three, your quote-unquote big three are going to be back next year, because you really have no choice, because we don't – the Westbrook and the AD trades bled us dry. But, like I said, I'll be glad when the season is over, because to me, LeBron is just looking to win a scoring title. And I said this notion when he came out. Remember a couple weeks ago, he said he's having a ball. He's having a great time. If that's the case, then please, let's end this GOAT debate.
The funny thing is, which he shouldn't win, the scoring title. I mean, I've long been a proponent of it literally should be total points, not average, because you only got to play 50-something games to qualify for the scoring title, and then the rest you can just sit back and coast, on. It should be total points.
I never thought of it that way, but I don't disagree with that, because I said before you got on the phone again, I said, how the hell LeBron can put up 38 points against the Pelicans and then not play 2 days later against Denver?
Exactly, and that's another reason why I don't think they're going to make the play-in. But this will tell you a lot about LeBron's character these last 4 games, because this is for the kit and caboodle. This is to get in the play-in. So he should be playing all 4 of them games, all 4, not just 2 to make sure he keep his scoring average up. It should be total points. And to be fair, and that's not me advocating for total points, because it would be DeMar DeRozan that wins the scoring title if it was based on total points. LeBron is like 7th or 8th in total points, and he might even be lower than that.
Probably, because he has missed significant time this season. I know he's dropped a couple of 50 burgers, but I don't disagree with that notion. Like I said, it's just been a total failure by the Lakers. And again, I don't get mad when I hear Michael Wilbon say that they don't belong on national television because they've been so awful. I don't get mad at Charles Barkley when he won't even say the team name. I don't get mad at none of them. I don't get mad at Kendrick Perkins for saying, why the hell are we even still talking about them? I don't, because I agree. But when Magic speaks, I listen. But with that being said, who do you think should win MVP this year?
Oh, man. I'm at this juncture, I'm going to have to say, Giannis, only because, the Bucks are defending champions. They're in a position to defend their title. They dropped off a little bit, but not much. So, and I'll say it because of his head-to-head play versus other MVP candidates against Embiid. I don't know what he did against Jokic. But that would be my runner-up. Jokic would be my runner-up. Embiid would be like 3rd, maybe, but Jokic would be my runner-up because I think he's doing more with less.
Well, that is true. The only thing I'll say in Joel Embiid's defense is, like, you just got James Harden. You didn't have Ben Simmons all year. So
nobody want to hear that. You got the roster you got. And prior to that, he was already in the MVP conversation prior to the trade. Because he was already putting up numbers early on in the year before the trade deadline.
You like what Embiid did, trying to subliminally drop that hint the other day by saying, I don't know what else I have to do to win the MVP. I think they hate me.
He can say it, But I mean,
brilliant tactic.
You know, he can say it, but I don't know at the end of the day whether that'll be in the voters' minds when push come to shove. If anything, that might alienate some voters.
I'm gonna be honest with you though. I agree with you about Giannis. I do. I think because I saw what he did, literally the block on Embiid. I watched the game with against Brooklyn. Luka took Milwaukee to the cleaners the other night. But I would have to give it to Giannis. But Giannis is going to get to a level where you could literally give it to him every year, because the scary thing about Giannis is he's getting better.
You know why a guy like Luka, I don't think will be in that conversation. I mean, he'll be in the conversation, but why he'll never usage. Like
his usage rate is crazy,
so high, yeah, and that's the reason why he has those numbers. I mean, not that he's not a really good player, but if you give him a adequate point guard where he doesn't have to play point guard on that team, then his numbers are gonna dip. They just are. So
that's why it's gonna be hard to find a running mate for him.
I'm gonna say this. I think we're seeing. We might very well, it might be this year, we're seeing the death of the super team.
It may very well be.
We're seeing the death of the super team because the Nets will make the play-in, but by no means are the Nets a lock to do anything in the playoffs.
And you know what the crazy part about that is that they're still the favorite Vegas bet nods to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. But what has been proven, Kyrie could score 60, Durant could score 55, and they still lose.
Yeah, right.
And so that size thing gets them in the end. So, so the Nets and LA, and I think we're seeing potentially the death of the super team.
Like I said,
Harden's not going to come back to. I mean, Harden will take the money and come back to Philly, but I don't think that Philly's going to offer him a new contract.
I think Philly's going to try to move heaven and earth to get Damian Lillard there. Because for all intents and purposes, I think Dame has quit on Portland. Because Dame could have came back from his injury this season. As soon as he got injured, he said, "I'm not going to rush to get back." That told me everything I needed to know. He don't want to be there no more. He's starting to get long in the tooth career-wise, and I think Philadelphia's going to do whatever. I think.
Yeah, but what do they have? They don't have any assets.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe by not giving Harden that contract. I don't know. But I mean, I actually have to give Dallas credit though when you were talking about Luka, because ever since they traded Porzingis, they've actually been balling. Like they're a game behind Golden State for the third spot in the Western Conference. And I know Golden State has kind of fallen off with the injuries and whatnot, but Dallas has been balling. I'm not saying Luka's gonna, I'm not saying Luka for MVP, because to me, the person who should really be getting more MVP attention is Devin Booker.
Well, the thing with Dallas is they're a star and a bunch of role players, but their role players play their roles to the hilt. They do what they do their job.
Well, what do you think about Devin Booker?
I think Devin Booker is streaky. I mean, him and Zach LaVine are very, very similar. Like they're almost the same guy when LaVine is healthy. I think Devin Booker at least will play a little defense, but other than that, they're the same guy. I don't know if they're a number one guy. You got to accessorize them.
Well, he played great when Chris Paul was out.
Yeah,
and they didn't fall off a bit.
Other pieces around him. You got to accessorize those kind of guys because they're streaky. Devin Booker could drop 40, 50 on you one night, and then the next night he shoot 3 for 23.
Yeah, we've seen Devin Booker drop 70.
So, I mean, that's what I think of Devin Booker. I mean, they again, when you think about him and Zach LaVine, what can they not do on the court? They can drive to the basket, they can shoot the three, they got mid-range, they can do all of the above. Neither one of them are great defenders, but from a scoring they're arguably two of the most versatile dudes in the league. So that's what I think about them, but I don't see them as guys that I don't in the way that Luka influences a game. I don't see either one of them dudes being able to do what Luka does.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me something. Okay. Now, I'm looking at the standings. The Western Conference is pretty much set. To me, the only question is who's going to finish in that 3-4 range, that 3-4-5 range. Well, really 3-4 range between Golden State and Dallas. Because Phoenix number 1, Memphis number 20, Memphis number 2, that's a lock. Now, as far as the Eastern Conference goes, I see you guys at number 5, but it's like, even though Miami has a 2-game lead for the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference, the 2 through 4 is Boston, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. They all had literally, Boston has a half-game lead, and Milwaukee and Philly has the same record. How do you think that's going to end up? Who do you think the Bulls are going to be playing? Because the Bulls are tied with the Raptors for that 5-6 spot.
Yeah, we got the tiebreaker with the Raptors, but I don't know. I know this. There's talk that there's some tanking going on to change the standings, that certain teams are losing games on purpose, to get a favorable matchup in the playoffs.
To avoid Brooklyn. To avoid Brooklyn. Let's call it for what it is.
I don't know if that's true or not. Well, I mean, even some of them first round matches, that's the talk. But I don't know if that's true. But I'll be honest. The other day, until the standings changed, and I saw Toronto had overtaken us by a half game. Even though we still own the tiebreaker with them, I said that may not be bad playing the Celtics.
But right now, y'all would be playing Philadelphia.
Right now, we'd be playing Philly. And again, I love AK, but in the off season, the biggest thing he got to do is address size. Patrick Williams is back, and he's been playing well. And that's fine. You didn't want to move him because you see potential in him. I see potential in him too. He just got to play. He got to play strong, play aggressive. Can't play timid. He can't be 6'9" and play like a church mouse. But he got to get size in all season, and I'm talking about quality size. We could have had Covington, but I guess they didn't like Covington. Could have had Larry Nance. Guess they didn't like Larry Nance. I don't know, but size. But in terms of playoffs and how I see the East, and I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know, because the thing about my team and my assessment of my team is we haven't seen that whole team together since the 5th game of the season. Patrick Williams went out, and then Lonzo was gone.
Is he coming back this season?
I don't know, man. I don't know. A couple weeks ago, they had him out, and they said he's not ready to go full speed. And there was a setback, whatever that means. Setback in his rehab, whatever that means. But Billy Donovan hasn't ruled him out for the season. I mean, there's only 4 or 5 games left, so I don't know. But people, I will say this: people underestimate the value of that dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Because from a point guard standpoint, he ain't Chris Paul in this, that, and the other. But a point guard being able to defend 1 through 4 and being a good 3-point shooter, that's a significant thing, because they had to move Caruso back to the bench, because Caruso, I don't know, he getting that white Mike mentality he can't really do. Play defense. That's what you do. You can't. Him in his one hand trying to thread the ball needle, no. He over there trying to take people out of the dribble like Jason Williams.
Oh, thinking he white chocolate.
Yeah, white chocolate. Nah, you ain't that dude, Caruso. He can't even finish at the rim competently. So he's off the bench. He's a 3-and-D guy. That's where he needed to be.
That's really what he's always been.
Yeah, we need Lonzo back because he's a good rebounder, great defender, and that you can play that team defense and cover up the lack of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan effort on defense, because that's all it is, effort. Them dudes can play D, they just don't like to play D, and you can tell. You can tell when you watch certain guys play in the NBA, they're prideful about not letting people score. Like dudes like Patrick Beverly, his whole career, no, I ain't giving up nothing easy. And so they get after it, versus other dudes that they gotta, take 2 steps to the right or 2 steps to the left, they expecting somebody else to take them 2 steps. That's how DeMar and Zach, they conserve for offense. You can't have 2 dudes that conserve for offense and then a slow-footed center as well on the floor. You can't have that.
Man, y'all should have got Boogie Cousins when he was out there.
I think that, but Boogie's not a great defender either. That wouldn't have necessarily solved that problem. It wouldn't have. It wouldn't have solved that problem. Now maybe your boy that you were touting as the all-star, still all-star level.
Oh, Drummond?
Somebody like Drummond.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll play deep.
Oh, yeah.
He's not good in the pick and roll, but he'll play the rim deep and rebound.
Well, I think that Drummond, if the Nets have any type of a run in them, I think Drummond will play dividend, will be a huge part of it, because the game slows down, defense and rebounding will make a point, because I don't expect shit from Ben Simmons. I don't even believe he's hurt. I don't really believe he's hurt, but I believe when you talk about teams tanking to get a more favorable matchup, I truly believe that people are trying to avoid Brooklyn, because I think maybe Brooklyn, I don't even think Brooklyn can get the 7th spot. I don't think the
Bucks would avoid. I think the Bucks would love Brooklyn.
Well, I think the Bucks probably would, but I don't know if the Bucks are going to get the number 1 seed though. And I don't believe that Brooklyn can get. I don't think Brooklyn can get to the 7th seed now. I think it's too late for that, because it's just a couple of games left in the season. They have 5 games left. They would need Cleveland to completely fall off, because Cleveland is 43-36. Brooklyn is 40-38. They would need Cleveland to totally fall off, and have losses by Atlanta and Charlotte. So I don't know if
another team Brooklyn don't really want. There's a few teams that Brooklyn wouldn't. They just don't match up well, despite the presence of Kyrie and KD. They don't match up with Cleveland. They don't match up with Miami. They definitely don't match up with Toronto, because Toronto is just long. Everybody is long.
Well, I think the team that they might end up seeing, should they get in, and of course, if the play-in was today, they would have to play Charlotte. And if the play-in was today, which again, I hate the play-in format, I just do. Cleveland would be at home to Atlanta. Charlotte would host Brooklyn. Let's assume Brooklyn gets in. Looks like they're going to end up with Miami. And Miami has been Jekyll and Hyde over the last couple of weeks internally. Now they're playing well again. They're to me, they're the deepest team. To me, they're the deepest team in the Eastern Conference. But you don't think they match up well with Miami?
Yeah, they do. But again, like you said, Miami's Jekyll and Hyde. You used to didn't have to say this, but it depends on what Jimmy Butler defensively decides to show up. Not so much offensively, defensively.
I'm going to be honest. I think Miami's playoff run, to me, is going to be hinged on Kyle Lowry. Because Kyle Lowry has been in and out the entire season. When I've been watching him the last week or so, it's like he's trying to kick it into another gear. Because if he can kick it into another gear, that's a whole nother weapon. Then you don't have to depend so much on Jimmy Butler on offense. If Lowry is in gear, you don't have to. But like I said, they're deep. Tyler Hero, Bam, PJ, Olin. I mean, I keep forgetting that they have Oladipo sitting on the bench. But I don't know. But just Kevin Durant though is such a different animal. He is. Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but what I said is true. Kevin, you can let Kevin Durant go off, and the Nets still lose the game.
So okay, so let's say Ben Simmons does come back on the floor. What do you think? What do you think happens then?
Nothing.
Right.
Like literally nothing. I don't expect anything to change because they've been playing so long without Ben Simmons. He's not a focal point.
They've never. The Nets have never played with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, they'll get an extra defender. That's the only way to really look at it, defender and rebounder, because you don't know what that dude is bringing or whether he'll hurt their chemistry. You don't know.
That's true. But again, I don't believe anything that I just don't with Ben Simmons.
I want to see the reaction from them dudes the first time in the last minute of a game, and that ball get kicked into Ben Simmons or said to him at all. What does he do?
I believe he would have Ben Simmons. Let's say if you're coming off of a timeout, I believe he's the inbounds guy.
Yeah, and then don't get a ball back to him.
Nope, not at all. Nope. He would be the inbounds guy to ensure that he doesn't get the ball. Plus, he's 6'10", so he can still see over the defense. Nope. He is not. And I'm pretty sure Steve Nash had that whipped up the second he got there. In a tight game situation, we coming off of a timeout, he's the inbounder. So that way he can still technically be on the floor, but he's not getting the ball back. Because you're going to surround him with KD, Kyrie, Seth Curry, and Patty Mills. You're going to surround him with nothing but shooters.
Right.
But, like, again, I don't, like I said, Ben Simmons, I've lost so much basketball respect for that dude. I'm serious. I have. I really have. Because Ben Simmons, to me, is full of shit. I mean, I'm serious. I'm serious, man. I don't. I believe he is full. I believe he's coddled and full of shit. Well, what about the Western Conference, or are you locked into Phoenix and Memphis?
You can never say never to a team like Golden State because they can get hot, on a hot streak. But right now, the clear cut does look like Phoenix and Memphis, and I think Phoenix is more so cementing the fact that they are where they belong right now because Ja being out and they still rolling.
Boy, they are rolling, right?
Yeah.
Good Lord, they are rolling.
But they make the strongest case for why the death of the super team does not mean the death of your franchise. That you can build from, within, because they homegrown for the most part.
That's why I enjoy them. That's why I enjoy Golden State, to tell you the truth. And I mean, I love it. I love the fact they're young dudes, with the exception of Steven Adams. They're young dudes. They all were drafted there. They whooping ass and they talking shit in the process. And they know how to play together so well that when your best player is out, and he's been out for about a quarter of the season, combined with all the games he's missed, they don't miss a beat. And I actually really enjoy it. I think that would be a great second round series. I hope Dallas doesn't catch Golden State, because I think I would actually enjoy Dallas versus Denver in the first round, especially if Jamal Murray is able to come back. I wouldn't bet the house on that, but if Dallas if Murray and Michael Porter are able to get back for the Nuggets, I think that series is a very good series. Then I could actually see, and now I'm sure Steph is going to be back for the playoffs, but I could realistically see if Golden State ends up with Utah, I could realistically see that going 7 games.
Yeah, because there's a couple things that there's no answer for. There's no answer for Steph Curry to be healthy, but there's no answer on Golden State side for Rudy Gobert either.
Exactly. That's why. And Wiseman is not coming back this season. That's been confirmed. Now, I tell you what, a sleeper fun first round series would be, though, Memphis and Minnesota. Because the Timberwolves are another team. They're going to be where Memphis is at maybe in the next year or two. If you see Memphis and...
because Memphis play D. They bought into that concept. Minnesota.
I'm looking at the young players and saying this. Hey, look, Memphis could sweep them. But what I'm saying is I could see it being, you've seen a sweep before where all games were close. Like a couple years ago when Golden State and Portland were in the Western Conference Finals. Golden State swept them, but each game was in doubt with 2 minutes to go. Each game was in, Golden State was just able to win those games. So I think a sneaky fun first round series, if it happens like this, would be Memphis and Minnesota. And now if the Clippers wind up as the 8th seed and they play Phoenix, they're probably getting swept. They might get a game.
Right. Yeah.
But the playoffs, they start Easter Sunday, man. They start.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Now, what do you think about didn't talk about this last week. And the only reason why I'm going to the NFL now. Only reason why I haven't brought this up, I'm talking about Colin Kaepernick. Him throwing. I haven't brought this up because to me, the goalposts will constantly, get moved back. I didn't talk about this because I don't think it's going to amount to anything. Colin Kaepernick, because we know Colin Kaepernick can physically still play. But I don't think it's going to amount to nothing. I really don't. I think these owners are getting tired of now being told what to do, even if it's the right thing. And what do you think about that?
Honestly, I don't and don't even care about Colin Kaepernick. He can play, but he doesn't play well enough to justify, as I've always said, even to my wife, he don't play well enough to justify the headache that he potentially brings. The drama, the questions, the constant, the other players got to constantly answer questions about a dude that is largely irrelevant. So no, I just, and the thing that I read some posts that people wrote in terms of Kaepernick, and I'm like, yeah, but the thing y'all leaving out is, even though he says they just saying the right thing, he'll accept the backup role. But here's this dude, I'm not going to be no backup, and I want to get paid this amount of money. See, that's the thing that people aren't. So now, not only you gotta weigh his talent versus the amount of money that he says he'll only play for because he feel like he's better than, and the drama, and he want to be gifted a starter role because he feels like he's that dude. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Now, age is a thing now. It's just not. Leave Kaepernick right where he is. Leave him right where he is. And I'm not, bad mouthing the dude, the whole thing that started this, because we know, we black, so we understand, what's going on. I even understand how he didn't necessarily ask for that publicity that he ended up getting. You know what I'm saying? But once that die was cast, you're on the job. You know what I'm saying? You need to act accordingly. And once that die was cast, it's just not worth it. Like right now, Antonio Brown is sitting somewhere begging for a job. Like, he puts these little subtle posts, but make no mistake, he's begging for a job.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And there's owners out there, there's one or two owners that's considering, is he worth that headache? The talent is undeniable. He's actually a better player than Kaepernick, ever was, arguably. But is he worth that headache?
I don't think that's an argument. He's way better at his position than Kaepernick was at his.
So, but he doesn't have a job. Why didn't he have a job? Because owners are like, the talent,
Yeah, but that's different when you compare an AB to Kaepernick now, as far as the incidents.
I'm not even talking about the end. I'm just talking about the drama. It's just drama, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. A lot of voters look, can we just play football? Like, that's it. Can we just play football? But can we talk about playing football? And then as an owner, you gotta start looking at your fan base and saying, hey, am I willing to take this, 10% whatever hit to sign this dude, because there's gonna be some fans that have an issue and they'll boycott because politics and sports are now mixed.
But see, if you and I don't disagree with what you're saying, I just think that would be so stupid if Colin Kaepernick was to get signed to a team. You would boycott what? he didn't break any law. It's not like fans boycotting when Michael Vick was signed to their team, and that's not a shot at Michael Vick. But Colin Kaepernick didn't do anything illegal. He didn't do anything wrong. So
but we live.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
In a country where you could have a player say, let's say, I disagree with same-sex marriage. Just a player, he's talking in off season or something, and make a comment like that, and you'll have people boycott it because they're in favor of same-sex marriage, and they'll, that shut up and dribble. That shut up and dribble mentality with a lot of fans, and that's why they would boycott it. Just in general, that was the whole thing. Who was that? Was it Bosa?
No. You talk what? What? Same-sex marriage?
And no, it was something else political that Joey Bosa kind of spoke on, and you had Chargers fans that was like, we should have not drafted that guy, and blah 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 blah. Not Chargers fans, 49er fans.
I was going to say, because one plays for the Chargers and there's one that plays for the 49ers. You talking about Baby Bosa?
Yeah, I think it was Baby Bosa. That said, no, it might have been Joey. It might have been Joey. It was one of the Bosas, and they said it. No, it was the Chargers one, and fans, showed up with signs and blah 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 at the stadium behind that, because again, where he plays is, that area is pretty liberal.
Okay.
And apparently he's a conservative, and when you start asking about their off-the-field views of this subject, that subject, you're gonna ruffle some feathers. I don't know. I just know, me as an owner, you're trying to put butts in seats and make money. Occasionally, owners will step away from that dynamic and say, "Hey, I side with whatever the majority of my players side with," and that's that. I think Jeffrey Lurie did that in Philly, but people, it's easy to do that when you're in a city like Philly, where it's heavily liberal. You're in another place, you gotta tread carefully. For instance, if you're in Dallas, Texas, you have to tread carefully in terms of wading into the political river with your own points of view as an owner.
Well, since you mentioned that, Carl Nassib got released by the Raiders. Do you think he's going to get picked up by anybody else?
I don't know. I heard mention of his name in our circle weeks ago, actually, because they were saying he probably would end up getting released. But then I don't put much stock in that, because I've heard Brandon Cooks rumors. We were interested in Devontae Parker. And like, why? I don't know. I am encouraged that they brought in Chris Olave, though. Even though I'm shaking my head, like, you really gonna draft a wide receiver in the first round instead of O-lineman? But if they ended up with Olave, I wouldn't be mad.
Well, what do you think about Pete Carroll calling out the NFL owners about minority hirings? Since we were talking about Kaepernick,
I don't know. Like, we had this conversation about the NFL and minorities, and I still feel like at the end of the day, they're going to hire who they want to hire, and what that criteria is, we can believe it's one thing, but usually when they make these hires, they do have a justified reason. They have a justified reason for making the hires less justified and not making a hire. You understand? Like, if you brought up Flores, well, why would you hire a guy like Flores? They'd have less, to chime in on, because he's so qualified. But if they said they hired somebody else over him, they could give a justified reason why they did. So it's hard to say, with any certainty that they're purposely discriminating. It's hard to say. The numbers say, I understand what the numbers say in terms of how many minority coaches, but again, just in general, a bunch of white guys got passed over for that same job too, and they were qualified.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just brought that up because because I brought up Cap, and like I said, they gave my reasons for why I haven't discussed it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, because I don't think it's coming anything. Now, What do you think about this Bruce Arians stepping down now? Todd Bowles is the coach. I have my opinions on it, but I want to know what yours is.
I don't know what to think about it. You know, clearly it was an abrupt thing. So you know, I don't know. Stuff like that, when people choose to walk away from the game, whether they're a player or a coach, you never really know, you know, what's the driving force behind that. I'm sure, well, Tom Brady coming back, Arians being there was part of that decision, but Bowles was already there, so I don't see, you know, that being that big of a thing. And again, the abruptness of it, you don't really know what's going on in these people's lives that make them make the decisions at that time.
I believe that Tom Brady said either he's here or I'm not. One or the other. Either he's here or I'm here. I truly believe that.
So you believe he agreed to come back before saying that, because he came back and then, you know.
I believe that was a plan in motion. I believe he agreed to come back, and I don't think they wanted to automatically say Bruce Arians is stepping down, because that would be too close. You know, that would, you know, then people would put two and two together more quickly, even though a lot of people already have. I truly believe Tom Brady came back with the notion of Bruce Arians ain't gonna be the coach. I believe that. I totally believe that. I mean, good move, I guess, from a minority hiring standpoint to name Todd Bowles as the coach. And Bruce Arians had a hell of a, I mean, he had the most diverse staff in the NFL, so shout out to him for that. But yeah, I believe this is Tom Brady's DNA all through it. Tom Brady looked at Bruce Arians and said, I'm the captain now. And instead of having Bruce Arians just quit, he said he's going to take a consultant position, pretty much move upstairs, so to speak. But yeah, I believe this is Brady all the way. You know, Brady is now, he's gotten out of New England. And then on top of that, Todd Bowles gives off that kind of vibe that Belichick did, a kind of monotone, defensive-minded coach. Of course, he ain't going, you know, he's not going to have the control over Brady that Belichick did, because make no mistake about it, Brady, like we talk about LeBron and the Lakers, Brady's running shit there in Tampa Bay. I have no doubt about it.
I don't know that I would have done that as an owner. You know, I just wouldn't have did it. I mean, I understand the shakeup in the NFC and looking, saying maybe I get a chance to win another Super Bowl. But if you felt like Arians, you know, was more than a 1-2 year thing, and he was gonna be there for a minute, you don't let Brady call that shot.
Well, Arians had been there for a couple of seasons before Brady got there. He was brought there to see what he could do with Jameis Winston. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I do agree with you. I think Brady, you know, remember the rumors came out that he wanted to get traded to the 49ers. But Tampa said, no, we ain't trading you. So that's why the whole retirement thing was bogus from the get-go.
Sort of like the Brady to Miami thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep. And I'm not invested in Tom Brady, so really I don't care. I mean, honestly, I just kind of wish he would just go away. But, you know, that to me was just kind of funny that all of a sudden out the blue, right before the draft, and you already know you're going to have a talented team coming back. Now the coach steps down, and like I said, good for Todd Bowles. But I'm like, yeah, this had everything to do to me with Tom Brady. Everything. And he's, you know, while he's going back to having a defensive-minded head coach who's not going to try to, you know, put a muzzle on him, though. So it was a win-win for Brady. But, yeah, I think his fingerprints all over it. I sure do.
Well, I mean, hey, if this was the year to do it, you know.
Yeah, right?
Year to do it.
Right, exactly. I mean, these players are calling the shots. And
what do you think of? Because I'm still trying to make sense of it. I guess from the Saints standpoint, what do you think about that trade?
them in Philly?
Yeah.
I actually don't think it was a bad move for Philly.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I said note to self. I mean, people saying, "Oh, they picked this up and picked that up," and next year's this year's a quarterback week, so they give them another year to see hurt. But they don't really draft well anyway, so them getting extra picks, it ain't gonna make that much difference. But I'm trying to make sense of it from the Saints standpoint.
Right. That's really where I was kind of scratching my head at, because I don't think Philadelphia did anything wrong. I think they more or less have an advantage. They still have 2 first-round draft picks in this draft. So I don't know really what to think about that. I'll have to see what the Eagles and the Saints do with their draft picks. I do. I have to see what they do with their draft picks, because Philly, they need a little more defense. O-line. New Orleans, I actually think, though, honestly, to be honest with you, the Saints are going to be a dark horse team to me. I think if Jameis stays healthy, I think he'll do. I thought that last year. I think if Jameis doesn't get hurt, I believe they win the division.
Well, that's kind of what I said in terms of the Philly fans getting excited about that trade. I said, yeah, but you banking on the New Orleans being a bad team. If New Orleans is a good team, then they may end up winning that trade.
Yeah, and I honestly, and that's why I don't know what to think of it yet, because I don't think New Orleans is going to be a bad team. I honestly don't. I think that now I'm interested to see who the offensive coordinator is, because Sean Payton had Jameis playing well. It wasn't awesome, but Jameis was playing decent. They were 5-2, first place when he got hurt. So I'm interested to see that. I know Dennis Allen's a defensive coach, but he has that defense. I know they've lost. They lost Marcus Williams. Malcolm Jenkins just retired. But I think I don't think the Saints are going to be a bad team. So you're right. They may win the trade in the long run.
I got an interesting tidbit that's been floating around out there in the cyberverse, and allegedly from reliable sources, but of course nobody officially will own this. So allegedly, the reason why we're okay with jettisoning certain players and or reserving, not investing in people. Consequently, there's no way I would have gotten Bobby Wagner the contract. $11 million a year, that's not that much. But for them years, there's no way I would have done that. So that makes sense. But the cyberverse is saying that they're trying to keep flexible, because this is probably going to be McCarthy's McCarthy's last season, and that they're trying to reserve some flexibility for Payton to be able to make moves if he wants to.
Well,
I don't know how true that is, but
I've heard about stuff like that since the minute that he stepped away from New Orleans. So I don't know. I actually like the Bobby Wagner deal for the Rams. It was a big need for them, and I clearly think they should be the favorite as far as coming out the NFC. But, it wouldn't surprise Sean Payton. I heard Sean Payton to Dallas the day he stepped away from New Orleans. What I thought was going to be funny is that if New Orleans if they were able to get Deshaun Watson, I was like, damn, if they get Watson, Sean Payton might try to step back in there. But seeing as that how that didn't happen, it wouldn't surprise me, because he to me seems like the type of guy who will take a year off, recharge the battery, and if the right opportunity comes, and he has ties with the Cowboys, and I know all of that stuff, so it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, they I don't necessarily look at that guy as savior or all, but I do think that scenario he would probably do well because I think he's a dude that Jerry trusts.
But when I look at resume, I look at Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy as the same guy. They have a very similar resume. So, I mean, it would only be because of his relationship with Jerry Jones. Because as far as coaching resume, they are 50-50. If you think about it, they are 50-50. Both of them had Hall of Fame quarterbacks their entire tenure in Green Bay and New Orleans. And they only got one ring to show for it, which is not a bad. I'm not knocking them because they're franchises that have no rings to show for it. But multiple division championships, playoff appearances, NFC championship, they're the same dude. I mean, so I don't particularly see any gain if you go from McCarthy to Sean Payton. Outside of Jerry Jones, they have a history. But I really don't see what the difference would be. That's just my opinion on it.
I don't know. Payton might be a little bit more creative offensively, more progressive thinking than McCarthy. Stuck in there. McCarthy doesn't game plan very well, like game day situation type thing. It may be him, or it might be Kellen Moore. He's giving him all the latitude and saying, I'm not going to take over the offensive play, call it duties during the game and change up when it needs to be. I don't know. It's hard to tell with that. I know Payton will, though.
Well, yeah, Payton probably is the better X and O's player.
And if you feel comfortable with Quinn in that defensive spot, then yeah, that's what you need. The good X and O guy. The guy that's going to know when to go for it and when not to go for it.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. But before we exit, did you hear about Will? What do you think about Will Smith resigning from the Academy?
I think Will Smith didn't have a choice.
Yeah, to me, I thought it was I'm going to quit before you fire me type of thing.
Because, my feeling, and I said this before, man, I don't care what people got going on in their personal lives. I don't care how much pressure he was under, how much Jada did this, and he was stressed out, and blah, blah, blah. Steve Harvey, and I don't like Steve Harvey, but he said something that I do agree with, which I haven't agreed with him in a very long time on most things. He said that was a kid thing to do. Will should have handled it the man way, and waited till the man came off stage, said, look, I don't appreciate what you said, and yada, yada, yada. And if he felt the need to smack him still, then, you do what you do. But that wasn't the time, that wasn't the place, the way you did it, all of that was classless. And it doesn't even matter what kind of joke Chris Rock said, that's irrelevant. Comedians are going to say, things.
Yep.
So you've been the brunt of a joke, and he pointed like, I'd like to, point out the hypocrisy, and that Will Smith has been the brunt of a joke for the past, couple years, and it's been largely because of his wife.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding.
Keep that same energy when you're on Red Table Talk and your wife is making you look like a simp.
Make you look like what?
A simp.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And that's what he said, and I agree wholeheartedly. And now, what I will say on all the different reviews and going back and showing different clips of it, I don't know if you saw, Chris Rock just was balled up. He thought about swinging.
Yes, I did see that. Yep.
And
I mentioned that. I did something the day after. Yeah, Chris Rock's right hand came out of his pocket, fist was balled up. Yeah, he made a business decision.
Yeah. Man, and it ain't because Will Smith is bad that intimidating. Like he you know, I'm also of the mindset that certain comedians, if they had said the exact same thing, Will Smith wouldn't have charged up there. And I said comedians. I didn't bring up somebody like The Rock or some certain other comedians / celebrities. He wouldn't have. If Steve Harvey had made that joke, Will wouldn't have got him, went up there and slapped him.
Absolutely not. I don't think
Like
Steve
him,
Harvey.
None of them dudes.
Jamie Foxx.
Nope.
Yeah, D.L. Hughley. I just don't see it.
So you pick a fight you know you can win.
Oh yeah, and me and my cousin David talked about that the next day, last Tuesday, and that's what I said. You know, I think I said this to you too. You pick your battles very carefully. But yeah, he didn't handle it right. He was facing expulsion anyway. So, and I think he knew that was going to happen. Like you said, he didn't have a choice. I think he just made the move to say, "Hey, I'll quit before you fire me." But either way, he gonna be doing some straight to DVD movies.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because he still can get the award and he can go there and accept the award. He just can't participate in the voting anymore. But he still can go and you know, accept an award if should he get one.
Who's gonna touch him right now, though?
Well, he got a couple projects he's already involved in, so they're not going to just drop it and say, "Hey, you know, we'll take the L on the money." They're going to finish those projects and still put them projects out there because with them it's still about the dollars and the cents. Right now, going forward, you know, it might take a minute for him to cool off. But somebody, I mean, he's arguably one of the greatest contemporary actors right now, still. So
I tell you who won't be even if he gets an award. I tell you who won't be there with him.
Oh yeah, Jada. Yeah, no.
Shit, they ain't want her there anyway. He was his +1.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues, and it's funny. You know, what's her name? Lavelle. The comedian, the heavyset.
Oh, Lavelle Crawford.
No, not Lavelle Crawford. The female, she always got. She's short hair, always got the like blonde.
Oh, Tiffany Haddish.
No, Lavelle or Linnell, whatever her name is. The chick that claimed that Raven Simone was stalking her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she said she let Raven eat the kitty, and Raven started stalking her. I ain't no women like that. I just wanted to get a nut. But she said in her estimation, as a black woman, she's like, I put it all on Jada. All on Jada. The lead up, everything. I put it all on Jada. She's like, all the drama, all the whatever that I surrounded my husband with, I saw it hit that boiling point, yet I did nothing to stop it. I encouraged it. And she's right, because from another camera view, when Chris Rock told that joke, everyone, we saw the Will's mouth wide open with his teeth.
He laughed.
Laughing, right? Jada made the face she made. What you didn't see is, because they cut back to Chris Rock on a different camera angle, she leaned slightly over Will and said something. And then sat back up. Will gets up, goes up, hits Chris Rock, and you can see her head bobbing like she's laughing at him hitting Chris Rock. That chick said what she said. She said Jada encouraged. She watched it build up, created all the drama, watched it build up, over anger and her husband, overflow, and did nothing to stop it.
He really need to cut her loose, man. Because any insecurities that he has in herself, she feeds off of it and takes advantage of it.
But I think, and I said this before in terms of Will, I think because they showed a red carpet thing, and this I think was afterwards or may have been before, and it was I forget what sister it was, some younger sister. Will hugged up with it. Jada was right there, and she kind of gave a glance. But and the lady Liddell said the same thing in terms of their relationship. She said she thinks that they have that open marriage, but Jada is ultra possessive. She wants to do what she wants to do, but she only wants Will to want her.
She want to have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
I mean, how many women have done that? Pray tell. I'm not even trying to be funny. How many women have done that? Hell, how many men have done that? I mean, that don't surprise me. Look, I don't feel bad for him because he, you know, just because you have an open relationship doesn't mean it has to be open to the public. He never put a stop to this. He handled this wrong. But when I see polls that say, should we forgive Will Smith? That's overkill, because that's dumb. Like, of course, like, none of us are in position to say whether we should forgive him or not. None of us are Chris Rock, Chris Rock's jaw, Chris Rock's family, or any of those other people in the Academy who got awards after that event, which nobody cared about. But what he just...
But that's my point, my problem with Jada. It's not even a problem with Will in terms of their marriage. My problem is, I always said it, Jada chose poorly. She chose selfishly. They had an agreement. They agreed to have the kind of relationship they had, but on no level did Will Smith say, I agree for our business to be in the street in public. And Jada chose to do what she did anyway. She compounded the problem by then taking it to national TV on Table Talk and making everybody involved in it.
Yep.
You know, the media is going to put out there what they're going to put out there, but until you actually say things out of your mouth, it's just rumor.
Yep.
You know, so this is Jada the whole way. So I'm with you. I would let her go.
Yep.
I mean, well, look, you still want to run in that circle. You need a chick with a little crazy in her. Hey, Sanaa Lathan is free and clear. But she might
Regina King. Not Regina King, Regina Hall.
Hall. Yeah. Both of them might be finer than Jada, you know, depending on who you ask. So that's the
Jada's
direction I'm going. Huh?
I said Jada's still fine now. She wants him to act like an ignorant nigga. Pretty much. I mean, honestly. Because like you said, she condoned the behavior. She encouraged the behavior. And I think he's resigned from the Academy. He needs to resign from his marriage. That's just me from the outside looking in, having gone through some of those experiences. Not an agreement or anything like that, but having gone through what I've gone through, and just realizing, hey, you're trying to be there for better or for worse. Sometimes it just ain't in the cards. Your kids are grown. It's time to go your own way, homie.
I just think they different kinds of people. I think it's something real different based on their children.
Oh,
based on their children.
Yeah.
I understand gay, lesbian. I still don't quite. I'm non-binary. What the hell does that even mean? You know, that I'm sure people will make a reference maybe to what song was it? Prince. Years and years ago, that I Would Die For You, where he starts out, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man.
Oh, yeah.
I am something that you'll never understand.
Yeah.
Had the sign with both the male and the female thing, but I don't think that's what he meant at that time. I really don't, based on, you know, Prince later on in life. Because it's kind of strange, and I ain't trying to make this about Prince, but it is kind of strange for a guy that the perception about him all the way from the beginning up until was that people thought he was funny because he wear the heels and wear the ruffles and, you know, run around
pants with the ass cheeks hanging out
and all this other stuff. But you come to find out years later that Prince might have been homophobic the whole time because of statements that he made, you know, about not agreeing with same-sex marriages and yada, yada, yada. You know, he got boycotted because of that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He said it was his religion, you know, that's my religious view, but who would have thunk that all these years? But then again, who would have thunk Prince was Jehovah's Witness anyway?
Right.
You know, but he was a guy that could sing about God and fucking in the same song. Like the only person I know that could do that. And fundamentally, the only reason why there's even a question about Michael Jackson versus Prince. Talent, there's no question. If you start a record label and you need the most talented person, you would take Prince 10 times out of 10.
Particularly from a vocal standpoint, I don't disagree there.
Well, from a creative standpoint, he's going to write himself number one hits and your other artists number one hits.
Yeah.
And play every instrument and sing and dance.
Yep. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yep.
It's the Alicia Keys versus Beyonce argument. You just want some booty shaking, you take Beyonce. But from a total talent standpoint,
total package, yeah, Alicia Keys, definitely.
Alicia Keys, you got to take that.
Definitely.
No, I don't know. I didn't mean to get off track. But
No. It's cool. I just think, like I said, I mean, and the crazy thing is how we try to, not we, but the entanglement. That's kind of just a classy word for affair, aka she fucked another nigga in their house and said and bragged about it in a nutshell.
Yeah, but it wasn't an affair. See, that's the thing that people don't understand.
Well, I know the agreement, blase.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of their relationship, and that's fine because I look at it this way, and I don't judge in that particular way. If a couple decide they're gonna bring another female, that's an entanglement in their relationship, but it isn't because they're agreed on it, and as long as it don't present no drama, it's not considered an entanglement. This situation was only considered that was because Jada went outside the lines of their agreed to situation. The person she chose, she knew he was young and young-minded. That was a mistake. We all know that was a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
From the gate. You're dealing with somebody that is your child's friend. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
You understand? It's not what you do, it's how you do. If she had chosen older, more mature, more even-minded, and someone that was unrelated to her friend, we would not be having a conversation about an entanglement because we wouldn't know about it. And that's the whole premise in which their relationship was supposed to be. You do, we do what we do, and that's it. We give the paparazzi, what the paparazzi wants on some level, but our marriage is not part of the paparazzi, and that's how Will carried it for the most part. Jada did not.
Right, just because you have an open marriage doesn't mean it's open to the public, and he should have brought the hammer down on that shit a long time ago, but...
well, like Bill Gates. We didn't know that Bill Gates was sleeping with this chick for years. Like, for years. You talk about over a decade. And his wife knew about it. And we didn't know about it until they got divorced, and then some of that stuff, came out. But it wasn't behind his wife's back. She knew. It's just that when you get divorced, these little nasty details,
Boy, them rich people problems is something. Them rich people problems is something else. I tell you, them rich people problems is something else. But anyway, let me get on out of here. It is spring break, and I'm still going to take my kids to the park again for a second straight day. Went to the park yesterday, got on a football field and basketball court, and realized I can still run and jump. Ain't that a bitch? I'm serious. I said, boy, I'm about to get myself back in shape, and I'm gonna bust some ass this summer. But everybody laughing now. That's all right. You wait. Just wait.
I'm gonna tell you something funny before we go on that same subject.
Yeah.
How the media will dig stuff up, and sometimes these celebrities they're not doing it for the show. Angelina Jolie. How many off-white children she got?
Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy, oh.
Now, did to your knowledge, I haven't seen, but to your knowledge, when she adopted any one of them children, did she ever go on Front Street and go on the red carpet with them, or ask paparazzi come take a picture of all my off-white children, me and my off-white children?
Nope.
But they would catch her in like little, just being mommy type situations. And she had a negative reaction, get the cameras out of my kid's face, blah, 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 blah. Sort of like Brad Pitt walking when they were married, walking around in Soho, looking like a bum.
Yeah, so wouldn't nobody mess with him.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So, they don't always, not all of them like their business out there, and some of them actually, like Robert De Niro, react really adversely to paparazzi back in the day, him and Jack Nicholson.
Well, yeah, because, kids, don't... Well, you mentioned Will and Jada's kids, and they put them in the public eye at a very early age, and, if I was a star... If I was a celebrity, I can't sit here and say that I would want that for my kids. Not to that level. Because Just because, for one, everybody reacts differently to that type of attention, to that type of machine that is the industry, And
irony is not lost on the internet. You did see the posting about the internet never forgets, right?
Yeah.
With Will back in 1991 on Arsenio Hall show, cracking a joke on one of Arsenio's band members because he was bald.
Yep.
And then he turned to the crowd, "It's a joke, people. It's just a joke."
And
full circle.
Yep, and then he should know better, Like Martin said, Martin commented on it. This is what we do. They ran it back when Martin was doing the Host and Def Comedy Jam, and this MC Light's boyfriend at the time was there, and Martin ragged him. He said, I used to hit her, right? He said, there's a light at the end of that tunnel. I mean, you're a stand-up comedian. This is what you do. If you can't deal with it, don't sit in the front row. Fuck it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. But anyway, I'm going to get on out of here, bro.
Last episode, man, I know you ain't seen none of it, but it was a really good series.
Which one?
There's only 6 episodes for the whole series. The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray.
Okay, see, that's another one I have to catch up on. See, I just watched the last episode of Bel Air.
Yeah, that was a really good.
I like it,
I'm gonna say this: Marlon Wayans is now a serious actor.
Right? I did not know what to think of him when I saw it. I was like, Lord, I'm about to laugh, but he played that part, didn't he?
You know, Aretha then the respect joint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you saw that, you could see that he could do it. I just thought it was a one-off, though. Now he's popping up in other series. So
he played that part, didn't he?
Now, and he can sell it.
Yeah, he played it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He grabbed him by the goddamn throat, and his eyes were wide. He looked like a crazy nigga who just got out of jail.
Yeah.
I was like, go ahead, Marlon.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. So yeah, you get a chance, check that out. Check that out, because I was waiting for it, and he gave it to me last episode, or episode 4 last week. He said, "I'm about to go kill me a motherfucker." Samuel Jackson gotta have at least one good motherfucker up in there, and yeah.
Oh snap!
Yeah, senile. He was senile. He was Alzheimer's, and now he get all his memories back. And his nephew got murdered, and he determined why.
And that's the Sam Jackson joint, right?
Back, he gonna find the dude that killed his nephew.
And that's the Samuel Jackson joint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dominique Fishback, the chick that played Jamie Foxx's daughter in Project Power.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, her.
Yeah, she was in the Fred Hampton movie too.
Yeah, she was in that and The Deuce.
Yeah. Yep.
Joint with James Franco. Yeah, she's good. She's
good.
Actress.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because I heard that thing was good. But all right, bro, I got you next week, partner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh man. My man Tony. Yes, sir. But definitely good show today. I just wanted to get his opinion on what was going on with as far as Will Smith goes, and all I can say is that sometimes, and I'm telling you this from my own experience, sometimes you try to you put your gloves on. Now their arrangements and stuff like that, that's rich people problem. I would not do that in my marriage. No way. But when it just comes to putting your gloves on and trying to, for better or for worse, even when it's for worse, it's sometimes, trying to thug it out and, make it work. Look, man, sometimes things have run past its course. And when you find yourself being resentful and lashing out to people who really don't deserve it, then, you gotta take a real serious look in the mirror, look at your surroundings, and say, where do I need to make a change on? And I know this from experience, people. But anyway, where the buzzer. Thank you so very much, people, for bearing with me. I'm still just getting over this last bit of this little cold that I've had over the last week or so. And I'm pretty sure y'all could probably hear it in my voice. Not right now because I'm acting like an idiot, which I tend to do. But again, spring break for my kids. And yes, man, like I said earlier, when I went to the park yesterday, the softball complex, they got basketball court, football field. When I got on there, man, I was like, I can still run and I can still jump. When I stepped on that football field, my legs felt a little lighter. When I stepped on that basketball court, everything felt a little, I moved a little more swiftly, and I haven't done that in a while, and it felt good, and I need to do it more often because I'm telling you, I'm going to be busting ass on that basketball court this summer. I ain't playing no game, dog. And I hear you, Aaron, talking about some y'all don't want to hoop, bruh. When do I refuse a challenge? When? You've seen me ball. You done played football and basketball against me. I ain't backing down, bruh. Okay? But anyway, definitely hit that subscription button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. And again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, blessed week. Like I said, spring break week for my kids. I work tomorrow, I work Thursday, then I'm off for the rest of the week to enjoy the rest of their spring break with them. Everybody out there, be wonderful, be blessed. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. I'm out this beer. Peace. Love you.